Hey, so a few videos ago I talked about how I was starting a new save file more inspired by my reality living in South America because it's not really that well represented in the game, and a big part of this was switching the seasons and the holidays to better reflect what we have here. So in this video I want to go really into detail and show you how I revamped my calendar. I want to go through every single holiday that I made, and hopefully you may feel inspired to do something similar in your game. But to start off, I want to talk a little bit more about how I'm setting the seasons because I did change it a little bit since my last video. After I actually started playing the save file, I kind of got to see how I prefer playing with it. So usually I play with 2 weeks for each season, but as you can see here in the calendar, let me filter it first because this is a bit overwhelming. There you go, much better. So yeah, as you can see, I'm now playing with 4 weeks for each season, which might seem like a lot. This is the first time I'm playing like this, but there's a few reasons I chose to do that for this save file. The first reason is that I'm playing the save file on the long lifespan. That's the only lifespan I can really see this working without it feeling like the seasons are too long. So yeah, I would now recommend 4 weeks of winter on the normal lifespan. The second reason is that I am doing a rotational gameplay in the save file, but I'm not playing with just, a couple of families. I'm playing with a lot. There's at least 20 households that I'm playing with right now, and sometimes I like to add more or just jump into different families that are not in the rotation. But this video is not about rotational gameplay, so I don't want to get too much into it. But basically, since I have so many households, I want to be able to explore and experience the seasons with different households without feeling like I'm rushing them. Which brings me to my third and final reason, which is that I want to slow down and take my time with the save file. In all the years that I've been playing with seasons, I always feel like I'm rushing through the holidays. My family's, barely gotten through Winterfest, then we already have New Year's, then it's already spring. I just barely notice the time and the seasons passing. Honestly, a lot of the times my Sims wouldn't even do the holidays because I just wasn't focusing my gameplay on the holidays and on the seasons. But now I really want the seasons to guide how I play with this save file. So yes, I am doing 4 weeks per seasons. We'll see how it goes. If it's too much, I maybe will try to change it. I think there's even a mod where you can do 3 weeks of a season, which I don't know why that's not a thing in the game. You can only do 1, 2, or 4. But yeah, I'm gonna try it and I'll tell you guys how it's going later. But as you guys can see here in this first, screen, I try to have at least 1 week without any holidays just so it doesn't get too overwhelming and the holidays are, something special still. There's not a holiday every single day. And I also intend to add more, so if you have any holidays in your game that I don't talk about in this video, I would love to hear it in the comments and maybe add it to my game as well. So as I've said a million times, I am switching the holidays to the South Hemisphere, so Christmas during summer, Halloween in spring, all that stuff. That was the most important thing to me in the save file. And as of right now, my Sims are just starting winter, so bear in mind the start of winter for me is July in real life. So technically the save file is in the middle of the year, even though I don't really do, real life months in The Sims, but let's just get into it. So as you can see, today is Sunday, the first day of winter, and we have a holiday called the winter solstice. This is something that I decided to do with every single season. So as you can see, the first day of each season is a holiday. So we have the winter solstice, we have the spring equinox, we have the summer solstice, and then we have the fall equinox. And this to me is mostly a holiday to just celebrate the start of a new season and to have a holiday that is just focused on doing season related things. But the winter solstice is a little bit special because it is actually based on a holiday that is celebrated in a few countries in South America. Not really in Brazil, but it is celebrated in the start of winter and it is considered a new year. I believe it's called Wilkakuti or Mashakmara, which means New Year, which is why I decided to add the make resolutions tradition. I actually like, the whole resolution mechanic in the game, so I thought it would be a cute opportunity to renew my Sims resolutions. And then we also have fire, attend a holiday ceremony, and the thankful spirit. Fire is because making a bonfire is kind of a tradition for this holiday in real life, so it is very symbolic. And I decided to also add the holiday ceremony tradition because it's not something that I really do a lot in my game. I know it is only a rabbit hole, but I think it's interesting. It gives my Sims something new to do. And this was supposed to be a day off work and school. I just forgot to do it. So I know that winter may look very different for you depending on where you live, but I would still recommend doing a winter solstice holiday, maybe just picking the activities that you do more where you live. And yeah, again, it's just a nice way to start off the season. So a little bit after the winter solstice, we actually have the winter festival. Not to be confused with Winterfest. This is not inspired by Christmas at all. This is actually inspired by a holiday that we have in Brazil, which we call Festas Juninas, which would kind of translate to June fest or June parties or celebrations. I didn't want to add the name June to the holiday because I don't really do months in The Sims 4. But yeah, this is like a huge festival that we have here, and I actually already did a version of it in The Sims before. I might add some clips of it here, but it was so much fun, so I did have to make another version of it again. And this is just basically a winter party. So I added the decorate tradition, the art and music spirit, the bonfire again, and the regular just party spirit. The decoration is actually a little bit interesting because none of the decoration themes really match the decoration that we have, but there's a few items that go with it a little bit. But I did decide to add the decoration anyways because I feel like the decor for this holiday is kind of one of the most important things. And again, we have the fire because the bonfire is also a big tradition in this type of holiday. So this is an example of a very local holiday that I decided to add in my game that I never would have done otherwise if I wasn't working on this save file and adding a little bit more of my culture. And I want to add that it is a little bit hard to celebrate this holiday in The Sims because we don't have the food that we eat here in this holiday. We don't really have the music that we listen to here in this holiday. We don't really have anything in game to actually represent this holiday as well. I did have to download a lot of CC to make it look the way I wanted it to look, but I think even without CC or mods, I could still do these activities and they would bear some resemblance to the holiday, so I could make it work without CC. I just like using the CC. So next up in winter, we actually have an interesting holiday, which is the World Cup. Now I know we don't do a World Cup every single year, but I thought it would be fun in The Sims 4 to kind of have a World Cup. But yeah, as you may know, the World Cup is a big deal here in Brazil, but this is just a simple holiday. You just have to watch the sports TV and have a little bit of a party spirit. It's very simple but very fun. It really gives you an excuse to do just a party or meet up with some friends or your family. It's just a fun little simple holiday to add in the middle of your Sims lives. So the last winter holiday that I added is actually Father's Day. Again, a very small, simple holiday. I just added thankful spirit and give gifts, which are activities that you would, direct to do with your father. And I just wanted to add some more excuses again to have my families kind of meet up, especially if they don't live together anymore. I am very into family gameplay, so every excuse I have to make, a family reunion, I'm taking it. I thought of just doing one holiday, overall Parents' Day, but at least for now, I am gonna separate them between father and mother. But if you are not comfortable with that, I would recommend just doing like a parent day or a family day even, to celebrate your whole family. And then again, as I've said before, we do have one whole week free of holidays to just kind of do your regular gameplay without interruptions. And then we go to spring, which again in the South Hemisphere, it starts on September. So yeah, this is technically September through December. But again, just for holidays, it was very important to me to not have a lot of holidays in spring because I have a lot in summer. So in the beginning of spring, we have the spring equinox, which again is just an overall celebration of the season. To be honest, both spring and fall are not very big seasons here. At least where I live, there's not really a big change between the seasons. So I wasn't sure what to do for spring, but I decided to just do the more traditional things you think of when you think of spring. So we are doing some decoration with the spring theme. We're gonna do some gardening, of course, some baking, and then some cleaning. And yeah, I just really wanted to use this tradition the cleaning one, because I also never used it before. I would love to hear if you have spring holidays in your game. What do you do? Because I really wasn't sure with this one, but I think this is a good start at least. So yeah. So next up we have Children's Day, which is something again that I wanted to add to celebrate family gameplay. So we have Father's Day, we have Mother's Day, and then we have Children's Day, which I don't know which country celebrates Children's Day in which day, or if it even is a worldwide thing. But in Brazil, we do it on the 12th of October. So we only have two activities, which are give gifts, which would be given to the children, and gaming. And the games tradition, I thought it was only video games, but it says here that toys, the arcade, or the chess table also count. So I thought it would be cute to have, just a day where children can play and get gifts. And then on Saturday, we actually have Spooky Day, which seems weird even to me to have Spooky Day on spring, even though that's what we have here. Halloween's not as big of a holiday where I live, so that's probably why it feels a little bit strange, because when I think of Halloween, I think of mostly North American culture and movies and stuff, which of course take place in fall, but we are having it on spring here. And the traditions are just what you would imagine. So we have decorate, we have wearing costumes, we have the mischief spirit, and trick or treating. And I'm also having the spooky decoration theme. To be honest, I love celebrating Spooky Day in The Sims 4, even though I don't really celebrate it in real life. It's just an excuse to have a big party and to wear costumes and to be spooky, which I like. So yeah, Spooky Day, very self-explanatory. I'm sure most of you guys also do it in your game, but this time we're just doing it in spring. It's not really gonna change that much, I don't think. So yeah, I think it's fine. But what I did add right after Spooky Day is actually a holiday to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which is actually a little bit more relevant to me and where I live. We don't really celebrate Dia de los Muertos, but we do have a holiday on the same day, which is the 2nd of November. We have kind of a Remembrance Day here in Brazil. It is a national holiday. So I thought I could mix it with Dia de los Muertos because it is a Remembrance Day as well. That's a very hard word to say, remembrance. And since I am playing a lot in Cidade Namorada, I thought it was really cool to have a Mexican holiday. So the activities we have are, Remembrance, which I also never did a holiday with this tradition, and I think it's so cute. So to participate, you can click on an urn or a gravestone and choose any of the available options. I think this is gonna be really good now that we have cemeteries with the life and death pack. And then I also added tell stories. So the idea is that you're gonna tell, a story about a loved one that has passed. And I decided to add a party spirit because, it is a celebration of life. It's a happy festivity and celebration. So I thought party spirit was also important to kind of show that side, that it is remembrance, but it's not a sad remembrance. It is a celebration. And then lastly, we have the festive lighting, which is also a tradition that I've never really done before. So basically we can light candles. We can do a holiday tree, a menorah, or a kinara. I wonder if other candles also work with this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to test this out because I'm not really gonna use any of these items specifically. I don't think they match the holiday. Well, yeah, I'll see how things go. This is probably one of the holidays I'm more curious about playing because I never done anything like this. I think I'm saying that after every holiday that this is something new for me. I'm kind of giving Lana Del Rey right now. So I'm gonna try to stop saying that. But this is how we end spring. Again, we have 1 full week with no holidays, at least for now, just to kind of chill and do some regular gameplay. And then we get to summer, which, as you can see, it's a lot more full. I think this is a very accurate representation of what summers feel like in Brazil. It is very fun and overwhelming. So just to give you guys, a reminder, this is technically December through March. So we start off with the summer solstice, which is a big celebration of summer. And this is gonna be kind of a barbecue day in my game. So the activities are barbecue, invite guests, party spirit, and water fun. Honestly, this is what an average summer weekend looks like in my family. So I just wanted to have at least one day in my game to kind of recreate that. This is supposed to be a day off work and school. I forgot to do that. But yeah, I think this is very self-explanatory. This is just a barbecue day, but it is in the summer solstice. So it is to celebrate that summer is officially here. But yeah, this is what I did for the summer solstice. Now, for the next few holidays, as you can see, they are all Christmas related. I think I'm gonna go a little bit faster on these 3 because they are all very similar. But basically, as you can see, I actually did 3 different Summerfest holidays back to back. Because I am doing 4 weeks, I felt like I can kind of draw out Christmas a little bit because I think it's just realistic. I feel like in real life, we have kind of a few days of, prepping for Christmas, decorating and getting the festive spirit, and then, we actually have the big holiday moment, and then the next day I also felt like you kind of celebrate it. So I just wanted to include all these aspects of Christmas as well, again because I am playing with 4 weeks. I felt like it wasn't gonna be too overwhelming to have 3 similar holidays. Of course, you can always do this in your game without a holiday. You can start decorating before and getting a little bit Christmassy before the actual holiday, but I wanted to have in the calendar so I don't forget to do the decorations and everything. Oh, and of course I am calling it Summerfest instead of Winterfest because again it is during summer. In here we are gonna have Father Winter during summer, which is fine, I guess. And I also decided to add the festive lighting, which is not something that usually comes with Winterfest because I didn't know that lighting the holiday tree counted for this, but it does. So yeah, I always do the holiday tree, so it would just be a nice touch to kind of do every single thing that you can do related to Christmas since I am doing 3 holidays. And then right after Summerfest, we actually have 3 vacation days, which don't really have any specific activity. I decided to just do a holiday so we can have the day off work and school, because I feel like most jobs and schools, you would have a day off between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe not most jobs. I don't have the day off after Christmas and before New Year's, but some people have this privilege. So my Sims are gonna have the privilege of having little summer vacation between Christmas and New Year's. And then we have Réveillon on Friday. Réveillon is what we call New Year's Eve. I don't know why we use the French word for it, but we do. And this is one of the most exciting holidays. But yeah, this is similar to what we have in New Year's Eve in the game. So we have the countdown to midnight, we have the party spirit, we have making resolutions, and then I added fireworks because this is a big tradition here. And then I added the thankful spirit because I don't know, I feel like at least my family, everyone gets very emotional in the New Year's Eve. I wish we'd had a tradition related to wearing clothing or special clothing, because another thing that we have here in Brazil, which I'm gonna try to do with my Sims, is that it is a tradition to wear white for the New Year's. Or if you don't want to wear white, you can wear a color that is related to something that you want for your New Year. Yellow or golden is for money and happiness. Pink is for love and romance. Of course, I feel like most people don't really believe in it, but I know some people that really do. So yeah, the colors that you're gonna wear in New Year's is something that people always ask about. So this is something that I'm gonna try to do in my game, but that isn't really a tradition. So yeah, that's just a tip for, every single holiday. Of course, there's not really a tradition for everything that we do in our real lives, so you can always just add your own tradition, in your head that really isn't here in the game. But then after New Year's, I wanted to have some time where life is kind of, normal and chill until we get to Carnaval, which is probably the biggest holiday in Brazil. It is, bigger than Christmas. So we have the Carnaval Friday, Carnaval Day, and then we just have the last day of Carnaval. So again, I decided to add 3 days because I felt like, if I just had one day, I would try to do too much in that one day, and it would be a bit complicated with the time that we have in the game. So also because it's just gonna be easier to celebrate Carnival with different families, and there's just some differences between the holidays. So for the Carnival Friday, which is the first holiday, we just have art and music spirit and then a party spirit. So this is just a regular party day, kind of celebrating the start of Carnival. Then we have another Carnival day. This is kind of the main one. So we have the art and music spirit, we have wear costumes, the party spirit, and going on a vacation or traveling. I don't know if everyone knows this, but Carnival, it is a big tradition to wear costumes, kind of like how Halloween is in other places, but without the spooky aspect. So you would just wear any type of costume that you can think of. And then going on a vacation or traveling, just go out of your house and do something. That's kind of it. And then the last day of Carnival, I also think this is kind of a big deal because I think I said this in my previous video. We tend to joke around and say that the year doesn't really start until Carnival ends, which of course it's just a joke. We're all studying and working before Carnival, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that vibe to my game. So this is the last day to really put it all out there and have fun. So then we have, the party spirit, we have water fun, we have barbecue again, and then I also added streaking just because I just had to add this in some holiday. Not all my Sims are gonna go streaking, but if they are, I think Carnival is the appropriate holiday to do so. Okay, now moving on to the last season that we have fall. If you're watching to this point, thank you very much for listening to me just ramble on. But yeah, for fall, we just have 4 holidays again. I wanted to have a lot of free time to maybe choose some more holidays while I'm playing, and just having some days where, I can just do whatever and not worry about finishing a holiday. So the first holiday that we have is, of course, the fall equinox, which again, I wasn't really sure how to celebrate because we don't really have a lot of fall traditions here. And this is supposed to be a day off again, so yeah. So what we have is decoration, gardening, the fire, and telling stories. I like to imagine that this is maybe, a bonfire day or a camping day. I don't know if camping is a fall thing. I just feel like, having a bonfire and then toasting some marshmallows kind of feel like a fall thing. To me, you're kind of getting ready for winters. And I added telling stories because of the bonfire ideas, so telling stories around the campfire can be kind of a fun thing to do. Again, I would love to hear if you guys do other things in fall for a holiday. I would love to add that to my game as well, because it is kind of more of a general celebration right now. But then a week after the fall equinox, we have Easter, which I wasn't sure if I wanted to name it Easter because most holidays have different names, but I couldn't think of anything interesting enough, so it is Easter. And again, Easter is during fall in Brazil, so that's what we have here. So I added baking, the egg hunt, and the flower bunny. And I do have the spring decoration because we tend to do spring related decorations in Easter, even though it's not spring here. Doesn't make as much sense, but I guess it's what we do. But yeah, I just wanted to add Easter because it is a holiday that most people do celebrate. I was gonna add the grand meal. Some families do have, a big tradition of eating fish on the Easter Friday, but I'm not sure. That's not really something that I personally do a lot, but I guess maybe I could add this and just have each family kind of decide their own thing. So yeah, I think it's just another interesting idea. I might keep it for now. After Easter, we have Labor Day, which is supposed to be the 1st of May, right? It is also a holiday here. I didn't really add any activities. I just made it a day of work and school because I feel like Labor Day, you don't really have specific stuff that you have to do. It's just a holiday for people to rest. So yeah, this is why I kept Labor Day kind of empty. I thought of doing cleaning, exercising, gaming to kind of represent that, you can do whatever you want. But then if my Sims don't want to game or exercise or clean, they were gonna have a bad holiday, and it's just annoying to have the sad moodlet for a holiday like this. So I decided to just keep it empty. Ignore this. I just now realized this is a tradition, doing LSD. This is from a mod, of course, base mental drugs, which I do have. So I don't know what bicycle day, is that really a thing? Yeah, here's an idea. Now moving on to something more wholesome. The last holiday, it is Mother's Day, which is, the last Sunday here on fall. And it is similar to Father's Day, so we have give gifts and thankful spirits. So this is the day to celebrate all of your Sims moms out there. This is just something that's very important to me in my game, to celebrate my Sims family, so I decided, of course, to add Mother's Day as well. And this is it. As I've said, I left a lot of empty spaces because I didn't want it to be super overwhelming all the time. The only season that is pretty overwhelming is summer, but I find summer here overwhelming because there's always something going on, but everything else is kind of more chill. But these are all the ideas that I had so far for this save file. I would love to hear your opinions, and again, I would love to hear your holidays and what you do in your game. And hopefully something that I've said here can give you an idea for your game. That was the purpose of this video. So yeah, if you're watching to this point, thank you so much. Don't forget to, like, comment, and subscribe. That helps me to know that you're enjoying this type of video. Yeah, and let me know if you have any more ideas for, save file related videos that you would like to see. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.